Hello, I'm Wildonna. Welcome to Will's Crafts. Today we're going to do a craft that was taught to me by a dear friend who passed away recently. Her name was Elaine Cross. Maybe you remember her. Today I'm going to show you the craft she taught me probably 30 years ago. It's called Scherenschnitte, or in English it's called paper cutting. Or silhouette cutting. And it's a German-Swiss craft that has come down through the ages. You can find very old examples of it and very new examples. So let's get started. The materials you'll need to do this craft are some white paper, just regular typing paper will do, some colored backing paper of your choice, a pencil and eraser, some glue stick, a stick pin, tape, an X-acto knife, a regular pair of scissors, and a small pointed pair of scissors. Equipment you'll need for this craft is a light board. This one is very inexpensive, and it's very adjustable, you can see. It also runs by a USB cord, which is much less expensive than the electric ones that plug into the wall socket, and it's less expensive than replacing batteries in one you might find. So you can find these on Amazon. And you'll need a cutting board. This is a self-healing cutting board, so you can cut on it many times and it will seal back up so you can use it for a long, long time. The next thing you need is a pattern. And we'll discuss about where you can find those. But see, with the light table, you can even see through the paper that you're going to work with. Now we're going to begin to do our craft. I have placed my sheet of paper that I'm going to cut. I've folded into and I've taped it to the pattern. You can see that these patterns are half of what you're going to have. When you open it up, it'll be there, the same on both sides. So I've taped the pattern to the line, and you can see the pattern through there. And then, just for safety's sake, I'm going to put a little tape on the light board, but I leave an edge off the edge so that it's easy to pull off. I don't want anything to stick permanently to my light board. Okay, I think we're ready to start tracing our pattern. You need a sharp pencil, and don't forget your eraser. I like to use a white eraser because it doesn't leave any color on your paper. So here we go to trace the pattern. And I will continue tracing this, and we'll come back in just a minute. I've chosen a very simple pattern today so that I can show you how to do it in a reasonable amount of time. Okay. I have traced the pattern on my paper. You got to lift your pattern just a little bit to make sure every part shows up and you haven't missed a place. I think that one is okay. All right, now we can remove it from the light board. And the next step is to carefully remove your pattern. And in this case, the tape is not over the pattern that we're going to cut, so you can just tear it off, or you can fold it over so it doesn't show. And remove the pattern. Then the best idea is to cut a lot of the excess off. That's why you need a bigger pair of scissors, because with the small ones, it will take forever to cut this off. Now you need your small scissors. I showed you to have an X-acto knife if you want to cut, because some people cut everything on this board with an X-acto knife. Those of you who know me know I don't do that fine work, although I have done some very small places in the middle you cannot get the scissors into. You can use the X-acto knife. But for the rest of this cutting, I'm going to use my little tiny scissors. Now I'm going to cut my design out. And remember, you want to keep it folded in two because you want the other side to look exactly the same. And this is your art project. If you don't cut exactly what the pattern has on it, that's fine. If you want to add a couple more curves here and there, it's up to you. I'm going to try to stay with this pattern design. An important thought is to move the paper, not the scissors. So when you come to a corner, move the paper. Don't try to move the scissors in and out, but move the paper around. And yes, you're going to move the scissors some. It's a good thing to have a trash can really near you so that you can just put all these little pieces in as they fall. Now, I told you to get a stick pin, or you can use a needle, or you can use the very fine point of your scissors. But the best way to start cutting is to put a hole in your paper that your tip of your scissors can go into. So I'm going to go ahead and put a hole in each one of these spaces that I'm going to cut out so my scissors can get inside of there. And continue to cut the pattern. Now, when I was showing you how to use the light board, it came to me that some of you might not be able to afford a light board, or you think you might do this craft once and you won't ever do it again. So to save yourself some money, if you have a glass table, you can put a lamp underneath the table and use that for your light board, or you can tape your pattern and your sheet to your window and stand in front of the window and trace. Those are two very cheap ways of doing it. Inexpensive ways. I won't say cheap. I'm going to continue to cut this pattern out. And we'll put in the notes which pattern book this came from, in case you want to make sure and get this simple pattern. You can see that I took that large chunk out. It's just in the way now. It's going to cause problems. So take the chunks out as soon as you can. Now you can see I chopped that off a little sharply, so I'm just gonna trim some of that off. And the next part. Okay, I'm gonna keep cutting this out and meet you back here in a few minutes when it's all done. And you can see that I've cut out the pattern. Looks like I need to clean up a couple of places right there. And then you can open up your pattern and see that you have a lovely flower. These are great things. If you use the heart shapes, you can use them for Valentine's for your sweetheart, or you can just hang them on the wall. I think now that I open it up, I see a little piece there. Okay. And you can choose your paper to help your piece. Be sure and put the pencil side down. Nobody's ever going to know if you cut exactly on the line or not. This is how it looks. I love this paper that has script on it. Like somebody wrote a love letter and then they taped a heart to it. Or you can use a plain paper. Or you can see that some papers just kind of don't do it. There's too much white to this one, and it shows. Now, if you're using a red colored paper, or even maybe a black or a blue, you could use the white dots. The red dots. But you need a piece that is a contrast, and I just love this script paper. I'm going to turn it so I can see what I'm doing. You're going to need a place to glue. And on the pencil side, you're going to put your glue. And you should put the glue everywhere. Don't miss any of the spots, because you can't lift it back up. You may be able to lift this once, but you cannot lift the tiny parts up and replace them. And now that I have it glued, get that out of the way. Try to determine your center. Looks a little bit crooked. And then you're going to get it just where you want it, and it'll stick to your finger. Just press down in the middle. And then press your glue down. Press all the pieces down. Now you're going to want to let this dry for a little bit. Now see, I'm trying to, I'm going to have to glue the tip again because the glue has dried and I can't get it to stay down. And there you have your pattern glued to your paper. Now you can do any kind of a design that you want. If you have a picture that you love, you can lay it out on the light table, draw around the characters, the house or the whatever it is in the picture, and make a silhouette out of it that you can use for Scherenschnitte. Now I'll probably frame this, but I wanted to show you a couple other examples of some things that I did. This, you see, you can make a little Valentine card if you want. This is another heart that I made from the same book, pattern. And if you want to do reverse, this is not my favorite, but using a colored paper and a white background works as well. Here are a couple of other examples that I did and framed them. This little frame came from the dollar store, and it came with the little black ribbon already on it. This pattern was a little harder, and I had to do the inside parts with the X-acto knife. I'm not really a fan of doing that, but you can see that there are all kinds of designs. If you want to put this near your tea table, that'd be great. If you want to give this to your love, that would be fantastic too. I hope you enjoyed learning this craft with me today. That was Scherenschnitte. I did use some books to show me some patterns and to teach me a little bit of the tips that we use today. If you'd like to know about those books, we're going to include the information in the show notes. Thank you for watching. Spring is on its way, so in our next video, I'm going to show you how to make a spring topiary for your home. I hope you'll join us then.